maybe some of you did not accept for the call to be recorded. So it's probably eject you, then maybe you can come back. We have to record the call so others can also learn from it. So hi everyone, welcome to today's lesson. For today, we are going to explore storage in the cloud, and I'm going to just do that from the quiz. So the videos are on demand for us to watch. The PDF is also on demand for us to watch, and I do make sure that I link to the PDF in the assignment sheet that I do share with us on the group. So getting started with this, how are Firestores and Bigtable alike? So the first thing you want to understand is what is Firestore, what is Bigtable. Firestore is a NoSQL database that is used as a backend or a database application for Android's application. So if you have like an app that you are using and you need a database for it, one of the best app that Google Cloud offers is Firestore. Firestore and Firebase, they are very okay for application devices, just mobile application devices as a backend. It's a NoSQL database. Bigtable is also a NoSQL database, but Bigtable is sparse. It's a sparse database. Sparse means very efficient for storing maybe IoT data coming from sensors, data coming in real time, data that are coming in real time, data that are coming from sensors. Bigtable is a very good NoSQL database for that. So looking at these two services now, how are Firestore and Bigtable alike? The first one, they both offer SQL-like queries. So they do not both offer SQL-like query. They do not both offer SQL-like query because they are actually NoSQL database. But they are both NoSQL database. Yes, they are both NoSQL database. They both have a free daily quota. I don't think this is also correct. They are both highly scalable. Yeah, both of them are highly scalable. You can always increase your capacity. So I chose this. Which statements describe the correct cloud storage use cases? The first one, cloud storage provides data warehousing service. So cloud storage does not provide data warehousing service. Cloud storage it's a blob storage. Blob storage means binary large object storage. So it can save typically any file format. Like there's more often than not no file format that you can save on that you cannot save on cloud storage. Either .jpeg, .png, .s anything. So no matter the file format, cloud storage can save it. It can actually save it and it will support it. So cloud storage is not a data warehousing service, it's a storage service. A data warehousing service is a service that is used to uncover insights from data. So let's say I want to transform my data, or I want to uncover insights from my data. I want to be able to run analytic queries on my data. That is when I need a data warehouse. And the cloud storage does not fit into that. So for the second one, cloud storage provides the root file system for a Linux virtual machine. So that's not correct. Cloud storage is nothing compute related. It's nothing code related. So it's just a storage device and not anything for virtual machine or Linux, anything. Next one, cloud storage provides RDBMS. RDBMS stands for Relational Database Management System. So cloud storage is also not an RDBMS. An RDBMS is typically database services. Cloud storage is not a database. It's just a storage device, just like a Google Drive. Yeah, just like Google Drive. But it can accommodate anything, any file format, typically any file format. So it's not a database management service or system. Cloud storage provides durable and highly available object storage. Yeah, so this is correct. Provide durable. So no matter what you're saving, it can accept it. It's also highly available. Anytime you need it, you can get your data back. You can retrieve your data back. And it also saves something in an object base. Saves something in an object base. Object base in the sense that when you have access to the file, you have access to everything that is there. So it's not like if I save a particular file as just like a particular document. So since someone has access to the document, it has access to everything in that document. It's more of like an object based. So it's not saving, it does not save it in between that once you have access to a particular part, you do not have access to the other parts. It's an object storage and it's durable. So this should be the right answer. Your application needs to store data with strong transactional consistency and you want seamless scaling up. Which storage option is the best choice for your application? So if you want transactional consistency, strong transactional consistency, and you also want to be able to scale very well, then I'll ask you that, oh, which storage option do you want? So it's a database that can offer a strong transactional consistency. It's database services that can offer transactional consistency. So let's first filter out anyone that is not even a database. So cloud storage is not a database, so this cannot be the answer. Cloud Spanner is a database, this can be the answer. Firestore is also a database, but this is it's a NoSQL database. Cloud SQL is also a database. It's a SQL database. So among these three, I'm also going to eject this because when they say strong transactional consistency and they want seamlessly scaling up, you typically need an SQL database or a relational database management system for that. And these are the two relational database management here. But the question now specified that we want it to seamlessly scale up. So Cloud SQL would not seamlessly scale up as much as Cloud Spanner will scale up. So Cloud SQL is good for something that is like regional. It's good for like a regional database. But if you want something that is multi-regional that can scale very well, and you can even create instances across different region, you'd go for Cloud Spanner. So Cloud Spanner and Cloud SQL are similar. The difference is Cloud Spanner can scale horizontally more than Cloud SQL. And Cloud SQL is just good for maybe regional workload. But Cloud Spanner is good for regional, multi-regional, and of course, if you can guess, Cloud Spanner will probably be expensive than Cloud SQL. So which SQL database service can scale to petabyte data size? So SQL database service. If you look at this, Bigtable is a NoSQL, so we reject it. Cloud SQL is a SQL database. Firestore is a NoSQL, so we'll remove Firestore and Bigtable. We are left with Cloud SQL and Cloud Spanner. So if you want, so this is also a question of scaling to petabyte data size. Since there's scaling in it, Cloud Spanner would always scale better than Cloud SQL. So I'll choose Cloud Spanner once again. You manufacture devices with sensors and need to stream huge amount of data from these devices to a storage option in the cloud. Which storage option is the best choice for your application? So because I've explained something about sensors before, I'm going to leave you guys to choose the correct answer for this one. So what do you think is the correct one? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, so what do you think is the correct, what do you think is the correct option for this? Yeah, if you are raising up your hand, you can just unmute your mic and go ahead. So unmute your mic and go ahead.
So as a Bigtable,
Why do you choose Bigtable?
Initially when you were explaining, you said you explained something about that it receives senses from IoT something. So it can always continue receiving like that every time.
Yeah. So I said it is okay. It is optimized for them data that are coming from sensors or data that are coming from IoT devices. So it's the correct answer is actually Bigtable. But let's go over each of the options. They said devices with sensors and need to stream huge amount of data from these devices to a storage option in the cloud. Which storage option is the best choice for this? So if BigQuery is a data warehouse, BigQuery is not efficient to just use as a storage. BigQuery is efficient to use as an analytical tool. BigQuery is under an analytical tool. It's a tool that you can write an SQL query to unlock insight from your data, or you can use it to query your data. That's what BigQuery works for. But Bigtable, like I said, Bigtable is a sparse NoSQL database, and it's a columnar database that typically has tall and short. So it is tall and short. Tall in the sense that it has multiple rows and just a small amount of column. That's me of tall and short. And it's a columnar NoSQL database. So Class Spanner is not ideal for streaming huge amount of sensorial data. It's better for Class Spanner is a relational database management system, and that's better for like transactional related data and not this that we're talking about. For Firestore is a NoSQL, and like I said, this is best for applicational related data or applicational related something. So data coming from application are best suited for Firestore. So the answer is Bigtable. Why would a customer consider the code line storage? Anybody to go over this? Anybody to like answer this? I've not mentioned it, but anybody to talk about it from the video you watched and the slides you read. Anyone? Yeah, so please feel free to say anything. There's nothing being wrong in there's nothing, it's just fine. Anyone?
I'm guessing the first one. Temporary security.
Why do you say that? I'm trying to like understand why you said it.
Because under the definition, that's the definition.
Okay.
Code line storage it does say it's more secure than other phones.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for making that attempt. Augustine. Anybody else who has a contrary opinion? Please feel free, guys. Okay. I'll just explain. So taking a look at it, there are different classes of storage in cloud storage. There's a standard storage, and a standard storage means you can access the data anytime you want. Like you can typically access it anytime you want, and you're not paying extra charges for reading your data. When I say reading your data, means for accessing your data or for retrieving your data. So the standard storage class is more expensive than all other storage class that I'm going to mention. But the caveat is that you are not paying any extra charges for retrieving your data. It's just the standard. So another class of storage that we have is the nearline. So for those of you that went through the document, you probably have seen something like this. They call it nearline. And what nearline means is that nearline are typically good for data that you retrieve at least once in 30 days. Data that you retrieve at least once in 30 days. So for every time that you retrieve data in a nearline storage, when it's not yet 30 days, it's going to charge you an extra cost for retrieving that data because it comes at a reduced cost to what are they calling, to the standard storage. But when you want to retrieve a data anytime less than 30 days, it's going to charge you an extra cost for retrieving data. So that's for nearline. The next one we have is code line. Code line is ideal for data that are accessed once in 90 days. And that also comes at a lesser cost than the two classes that I mentioned before, which are code line and standard. But it's also going to charge you. So it's going to charge you more when you want to retrieve a data. So you cannot just say, oh, because I want to pay lesser, I'll now go for a class of storage. So if you go for a class of storage that does not really fit the frequency of how you want to retrieve data, you just end up paying more money for retrieving data when you need them. And the last one we have is archiver. So archiver is typically for data that you don't need again, like from the name when you archive something. So that's are typically something that you may not need them in 365 days, which is 1 year. So and anytime and that is like the lowest, like it has a very, very cheap cost. And for every retriever you also want to do that is less than a year, you're also going to pay more for the retriever. And the retriever cost is like exponential. So like the smallest retriever cost that you pay will be for nearline. The retriever cost of code line will be higher than the retriever, it will be lesser than the retriever cost for archiver, because the basic price for archiver is the least. Then we have the code line, then we have the net line, then we have just the standard normally. So I don't know if you guys got this explanation. You can like anybody to just show that you got the explanation. Anyone? Did you get the explanation? So you guys should feel free to use the emoji on Google Meet, too, except if you guys are using your phone. So there are a lot of emojis that you can use to respond if you don't even want to talk. Something like this. Something like this also. So anyone who got the explanation, basically. Or anyone who wants to answer the question from what I've explained. Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Ayomikun, go ahead. So what do you think is the answer? Yeah, please let's I can't hear you clearly. Can you all hear Ayomikun clearly? I'm struggling to hear you. Okay, Ayomikun, we cannot hear you clearly. You can use the chat box. That's fine. But I'm just going to bail you all out. So the correct answer is, if you look at improve security, to improve security is not correct. The security level on all the classes of storage are the same thing. Everything are very secure, encrypted at rest, very secure. To save money on storing infrequently accessed data. So this looks like it's correct, because when you use a code line, you save money on storing infrequently accessed data. So data that you do not access as much as possible, you would save money on that. And to use the code line storage API, there's nothing like code line storage API. To save money on storing frequently accessed data. So this does not help you save money on storing frequently accessed data. So if you want to use frequently, if your data is frequently accessed, the best thing to just do is use the standard storage class. So let's see. Yeah, so yeah, correct. So I want to ask your opinion. So should I first do this lab, or should I move to containers first? Should I first answer the quiz in containers before doing the lab at a go, or should we do this lab first before we progress? Because I noticed some of us we left along the way during the last class when the meeting was getting extended. So which one do you go for? Should we do this lab now, or move to the container quiz before we do all the lab together? Yeah, please respond. Anybody can respond. Lab, I'm saying lab. I'm saying lab. Okay. It's just one person that responded. Another person. Okay. The lab has its. So let's do the lab first. Okay. So I'll stop sharing and share again. I'm going to, so that you all can see my incognito screen when I open that. So okay. To do this lab, I have to use my, I'm coming out, stop sharing for a while and share again. have to connect to my partner's cloud skill boost and not this one. Coming just a bit. Can someone remind me the name of the quest? What's the name of the course? Google Cloud Fundamentals, right? Okay. Share once again. Hi, everyone. I also my screen. So getting started with cloud storage and cloud SQL. So for those of you around the last time, so here we are doing two things. We'll explore cloud storage, we'll explore cloud SQL, and let's see how far we can go. So the first thing we want to do is start the lab. So typically, yes. So I've done this now 4 out of 5 times. Just going to confirm it. And I've also shown you guys that if you even hit your limits, you can easily refresh your quota. So I really want to start this lab. Yeah, confirm now. I want to start it. Okay, so it has loaded. Like I said last time, it's a good strategy to open in an incognito window. Let me know if you can see my incognito window. Can you all see my incognito window? Please respond.
Yes.
Okay. So after that, I understand. So here we are on our Google Cloud dashboard. I'm going to agree to the terms of service. Yeah, here we are. So take a look at a whole lot of services that are here. This is the BigQuery we talked about. Because it's a data warehouse and it's under analytics. This is the storage. These are the multi-class, multi-region object storage. Yeah, a lot of things that you can just play with here. Let's get started to what we are going to do. So an overview of this lab, we will create a cloud storage bucket and place an image in it. We would also configure an application running in Compute Engine to use a database managed by Cloud SQL. So for this lab, we would configure a web server with PHP, web development environment for the basics of for popular software blogging. And outside of this lab, we use, let's see. So we'd create a cloud storage bucket, place an image into it, create a Cloud SQL instance, configure it, connect a Cloud SQL instance from a web server, use an image in the cloud storage bucket on the web page. Yeah, so this lab is quite interesting. Okay. The first thing we want to do is we want to deploy a web server instance, a web server virtual machine instance. And for those of you who were here yesterday, we were here the last class, we created a virtual machine. And this is still the same way that we created the machine. For this one, we are going to name it blog hosts. So the first thing I want to do, the next thing, to create a virtual machine, from the navigation menu, you go to Compute Engine. From Compute Engine, you go to virtual machine. Then you create your virtual machine here. So you can either create to this one or create to this. When you create a virtual machine, Then the name, I'm going to use the name they asked me to use for blog posts. So what is the region that was given to us? This is US is for US is for A. So US is for US is for A. The machine type, I'm to use the defaults as specified by the lab. But for the boot disks, I want to use a Debian GNU Linux 11. So let's see if the boot disk is what they ask us to use. So it's, you can see it's what they ask us to use, this Debian GNU Linux. So if it's not that, you can change it here and change the operating system. So these are the operating systems that are on the virtual machine. So you can see you have a whole lot of operating system to choose for. There's Windows Server, Ubuntu, there's Linux, there's SQL Server. We are using Debian. This is the version. Yeah, this just leave it as the default. The next thing we want to do is we'll leave the default for identity and API access. And for firewall, we would allow HTTP traffic. Under our firewall, allow HTTP traffic. Then the next thing we are going to do is we want to create a virtual machine that anytime we start up the virtual machine, is going to run this stuff automatically. It's going to run this thing anytime we access it into it. So these are just updates. These are just updating and installing a package. So we are installing Apache 2 PHP MySQL. So this is the Apache web server that we're installing here. And this is just to restart the Apache. So we want this thing to run every time we start the stuff. So you can either add it here or you can even launch it normally when you open your virtual machine after we've created it. But I'm just going to add it as a starter script so that it can run automatically. So to get there, from this advanced option for management, then you have the starter script here. I'm just going to paste everything nice here. Then after that, I think we are done. We can leave the remaining one as the default. So you can see if you accidentally put it into another field, it won't be executed when the virtual machine instance starts. So make sure that's where it is. And this is where I added it under the starter script. So after that, we can create our virtual machine. So it's creating. Sometimes it may take a while for the virtual machine to get created. I also hope we can finish within the time range for this lab. So I'll try a bit, and I hope my network too can sustain it. So while you're creating, you can refresh sometimes so that you'll be sure that it's completed. So you can see it's completed here. This would also be complete now. I've created a virtual machine, and let's check if we've done that here by checking our progress. So we've done that. We've created a web server virtual machine instance. So the next task is to create a cloud storage bucket using the JST2 command line. So there are two ways to create a cloud storage bucket. You can create with the console. Creating with the console means you do something like this. Come here, go to cloud storage, then create a bucket, something like this. Then create a bucket. So that's how to create with the console. But let's create with a command line. Command line means we would run a code and the code will create. So if you look at my bucket now, you can see that there's nothing here. It's empty. It's empty. But when I create from the command line, then we'll come back and check it and you see that we would have a bucket here. So the first thing we want to do is activate our Cloud Shell. So typically what a Cloud Shell is just it's like where you run your commands on Google Cloud Platform, and it is installed. It is some services are pre-installed on the Cloud Shell before, and Google Cloud automatically manages it for you. So to activate our Cloud Shell, this is where you activate your Cloud Shell. You can see the top right corner. So this part, activate Cloud Shell. When I click on it, you would see. So this is the Cloud Shell, continue. So it's a provision my Cloud Shell machine, and it will connect to our Cloud Shell instance. So typically, when we were doing our introduction to the Google Cloud and we talked about the different ways how we can access resources on Google Cloud, we mentioned one as the console. We mentioned another one as the Cloud Shell, which is what we are doing here. We mentioned one as, we said Cloud Shell or Cloud SDK. We also mentioned one as APIs, so using APIs. So this is one of the methods how we can access or create resources in Google Cloud. So from the Cloud Shell, with export location. So export location means just like the normal command that you have. So we are like saving, we are like using an environmental variable that anytime we see location, just use what is here. So I'm just going to export location as US, since the region I was choosing is in US. So then export location US and enter. So it's not going to have any effect, but that's just so. So after that, in the Cloud Shell dev environment, so this is the command to create a bucket. So JSUtil is the command for cloud storage buckets or cloud storage generally. Anytime you are doing something in cloud storage, you'll be using the command JSUtil. This MB means make buckets. So it's choosing the location. The location we specified already, and it's going to. So this thing,
Excuse
yeah,
me.
yeah. Go ahead.
What did you say GSUtil is?
So GSUtil is the command line, or it's like the representation of the code when you are dealing with cloud storage. So when you're dealing with cloud storage, that's the representation of the code GSUtil. So there are for some services, if you are using BigQuery now on the command line, when you're typing a command, you'll be typing a command like BQ something. So that's for like BigQuery. And more often than not, the generic one is just gcloud. The generic one is gcloud. So the command will start up gcloud. But since this one is just storage, it's JSUtil. That's the command. That's the format of the command line of the commands for cloud storage. So MB is make bucket. This thing is just using this location. This location that we used as an environmental variable here. And this part, this GS dev shell project ID. So dev shell project ID, it's a default environmental variable that has been saved for you on Google Cloud. So saved in the sense that it's typically just going to use your project ID. And you see that when we create our bucket, the bucket that we are going to create, this is the name it's going to take. So this dev shell ID project is already linked to the project ID of the Cloud Shell instance you are using. Anytime you you call this environmental variable, this is what it's going to show. You can also see your project ID from here. You can see it from here. This is the project ID, just the same thing. This is also the project ID. So another thing, why we are also using the project IDs, the name of your cloud storage bucket must be unique. The name of your cloud storage bucket must be unique. So unique, when I say unique, I do not mean even unique to your project. I mean it has to be unique worldwide. Like if I have a bucket named Mustafa in my project, a bucket named Mustafa, nobody else can have a bucket named Mustafa. So the name must be unique across the whole Google Cloud. And to just save us the stress of trying out names or doing trial and error, that's why it's just good to use the project ID. That is like just for a test, it's better to use the project ID. When you're in a production wise, you would obviously want to use a name that you can resonate with so that you would know what you are saving in that particular bucket. But our cloud storage, our GCP project ID is unique also across all levels. So it's just better to use it as a unique name since we need our bucket name to be unique. So I'll copy this. Sorry guys, I have to like watch a little bit. This time is counting and it's going to be an issue for us if we can't complete it now. So authorize. So when we authorize, you would see it's going to create, it's creating our bucket. So if you want to take a look at the bucket that we created, just refresh your bucket here, and you see that we have a new bucket now. You can see we have a bucket name here. So which is what we have here. So let's continue with the lab. So after doing that, we want to retrieve a banner from a publicly accessible image. So I'm going to this is also a cloud storage bucket. So you can see that when we want to access a cloud storage bucket, we are saying gsutil, which is just the gsutil that I told you before, and cp means copy. So it's copying from this part. This is the name of the bucket name is copying from, and they told us that this bucket is publicly accessible. And when it copied it, it's going to save it as my excellent blog.png. That's the name of what is going to copy from this thing. So when I run this code, I'm just going to paste it here. So I'm going to copy the image. It has copied the image for me. And when it copies the image, then I want to put that image into my bucket. So don't forget that this is the name of the bucket I created. If you all are following, this is the name of the bucket I created. So this is it. This is the name, the same thing that is there. So it's going to save the image I copied, which is this one. It's going to save it into my bucket now, just to be double sure. So when you take a look at this now, you would see that you will not find any image. When I click on this, you can see that there's no image. There's nothing in the folder. It's just the empty bucket. There's nothing there. But let me run this command to copy it into my bucket, and you see that we will now have a new image in our bucket now. So then run the code, press enter. So operation completed. So let's see. When I click on this guy now, let me refresh it. So you can see this is what the image we copied. If you click into the image, you can even sometimes see what is there. Let me see if we can see the image. Oh, load fast. So yeah, this is the image. This is the image that we saved on our bucket now. My excellent blog. Just going to go back. Yeah. So the next thing we want to do is modify the access control list of the objects that we created so that it is readable by everyone. So because we want a database that we'll create, we want it to still access this image from this cloud storage. So this access control list is showing that, oh, gsutil, since we are dealing with cloud storage control, since we are dealing with cloud storage, then this ACL is just the short form for access control, and the permission I'm giving on this bucket is all users. So I want all users to have access to the image in my bucket. So I'm going to copy it and I'm going to run it here. So if you did not set this, your database may have issues reading the image. Copy it, paste it here. What's happening? I'm unable to paste. Yeah, so if it's doing like this, I'm just going to refresh my browser. So the stuff is stateless in the sense that it's going to keep the state that you have before. So it's not going to cancel. You see that when my cloud shell loads back, it's just going to continue from where I am. It's not going to prompt me to start again or anything. Oh, come on, fast. It's supposed to show up what I'm doing before, but no issues. Going to activate it once again. Yeah, and you can see just from where we are back there. So I'm going to paste the code now, which is to grant the access control list. It has updated the access control now to grant all users access. So let's see if we are done with this task. I'm just going to do this, and you can see that task complete. So the next thing we want to do is we want to create our SQL instance. So to create our SQL instance, we would go to the SQL, from the SQL part, create instance, then we choose the database engine. Database engine we are choosing is MySQL. And for the instance ID, I'm going to name it blockdb. And for the root password, I'm just going to type a password of my choice. So we are done with what we want to do on this bucket for now. And we all know that this image is there already. I showed you, this is it here. So the next thing I want to do is I want to create my database. So I'd go to SQL, and I click on SQL. So this is my Cloud SQL instance. Then I create an instance. So I'm choosing a MySQL database. You can choose a MySQL, Postgres, or SQL Server. Choosing a MySQL database. And yeah, the name is this. So the password, I'm just going to use, let's see. So I can show you it's after the lab gets closed down, this instance will also be closed down. So none of you can access it after this. So this is just the password I'm using. So then you select the single zone and set the region. So we'll select a single zone and we'll use this region and this zone that's specified for us. US is for A. So yeah, using a single region. So like I said, for Cloud SQL, you can do it regional. So in a region, you can choose multiple zones in a region. But I explained that Cloud Spanner can do multiple region. So region is bigger than a zone. A zone, there are different zones in each region. There are different zones in each region. So Cloud SQL can scale at a zonal level in a region, but Cloud Spanner can scale in regional level. You can do multi-region for Cloud Spanner. So just access to use a single zone. Then the region we are using is the one specified by the lab, which is US East. I think it's US East 4. Yeah, US East 4. So that's all. You can just take a look at it and make sure that we are good. Then after that, we'll create instance. Our instance is being created. I hope it does not take a substantial amount of time. I check the progress here. So it will take a few minutes. That's why I want us to just go over it as soon as possible, so we can finish the lab within the timeline. Anybody who has any question while this is loading, you can ask a question so that I can respond. Anyone? So sometimes it takes, I just hope it does not take long. Sometimes it takes 4 or 5 minutes because it's going to configure all the necessary resources. So Cloud SQL is an example of a managed database. A managed database in the sense that after you configure everything, Google Cloud manage it for you. So you can see I picked MySQL 8.0, everything. So as I picked it like that, it gets to configure all the resources for me that I'm going to use. It's managed in all the things that are needed are created by Google Cloud. I just need to like specify them and get created. But if I just open a virtual machine and I want to like install SQL, or I want to download an SQL database on it, so in that case, that's not a managed data. Yes, I said something. Okay, so let's continue. So if I just install if I just install a database on my virtual machine, then in that case, I have to manage the database. I have to run installation. I have to run security patches or anything that is needed, because that is not a managed database. But Cloud SQL is a managed database, and Google Cloud does all the required management for you. They will help you update it. The installation part is the security patches will be correct, and then everything will be up to date. This is taking quite a lot of time now. Why? Yeah, if you have any question, feel free. I just hope you're able to complete this thing in this lab, because if other services that we are going to create also take as much time as this, then it will log us out. sake, be fast. For God's sake, be fast. Oh. Still creating. Yep. So the videos for the first lesson and the second lesson, hopefully it's going to be on the YouTube playlist. Hopefully tomorrow or next tomorrow. But those videos are available. I just need to upload them and maybe do some editing. Yeah, like I said, because this is a managed service, that's also why it's taking quite a lot of time. So when it get created now, everything like every other update that will be required or every other little configurations that falls under the provision of managed service are going to be done automatically, and you don't need to do it by yourself. Okay. Oh yeah, finally got created. So the next thing I want to do is I want to copy the public IP address of this. So let me just go back to this. So I have to copy the public IP address of this SQL instance that I'm using. And when I copy it, I'm just going to save it on a new browser here, on a new tab. So it's just for the timeline of this lab, nothing more than that. Then I'll click on user and add a user. I'm going to give the user this username, blockdb user. So from here on the users, click on user, then add the user, then this is the username, the password. Just going to use Bootcamp also. And any other thing, going to add it. This is the new user I'm adding. So the user is created already. So click the connection tab and add network. You are offered the choice. It's public IP. Okay. So now the network coming. Click on the connection tabs and then click add network. Let me go back to my DB. Okay, from the connections here, I want to add network. This thing, I think it has chosen this network from me automatically already. Connections, then network. Yeah, under networking. So it has chosen this public IP. So the labs tells us that if you are offered a choice between private and public, choose public for the purpose of this lab. The other button must be grayed out. If the user creation is not yet complete. Okay, so let's see. And maybe our user creation is not yet complete. Coming. Let me refresh this and see if we get better from there. I suppose this should be complete. Connection once again. And then networking. Oh. Okay, add network. You can see it now. For the name, we use web front end. And for network, we'll type the external IP address of our log host virtual machine followed by 32. So this is the name. So we want to use the external IP address of our blog host virtual machine instance. So to get the external, this one that we copied here, we're trying to confirm, is this the internal or external? So to confirm it, I have to leave this place. Let me just confirm it. Yeah, so this is our public IP, which is also known as external, and that is why I copied here. So I'm going to use it. Go back to connections, go back to networking, then add network. This name is this, then I'll copy what is here, which is my IP address. And I'm going to put a slash 32, which was the range for it. So after that, I click on done and save. Done, then save. Okay, so it's going to also save that particular connection. And this is the connection we'll probably use when you want to access the web server. Probably need to double up. So after it get created, we'll check our progress here. Okay, still creating, so it's not yet done. Okay, created now. So just do this again. So if this is not responding as supposed to, also you can maybe refresh here. We should track that progress as completed because we've completed the task under that place. So just going to attempt it once again. Just add the network with this until you see the green check to save configuration. That'll be done. Okay. Just add the link. But if we've not done, if we've not completed this, it's probably affect the progress along the line. But let's see. Let's continue. For task 5, configure an application in a compute engine instance to use the cloud SQL. So to configure an application, we'd go to our virtual machine and create an application in our virtual machine. So to go into our virtual machine, for those of us that are here yesterday, let me duplicate this so that if I need to come back here, I can come back here. I'll just go to my virtual machine from here. So our virtual machine is under compute engine, virtual machine instance, like we all know. So this is the virtual machine we created. So we want to create an application in the virtual machine. So what I did was I SSH into this virtual machine. In our last class, we tried SSH and we also used firewall and see the functions of each firewall rules. Okay, so we are on our virtual machine now. So the first thing is I'm going to cd into this directory. This is the virtual machine that we configured the other time, and we specified that it should run a startup script in the first stage. So I'm going to go into Nano. A Nano is just like a text editor. So when I'm in Nano, so how these things that are here, if you are familiar with HTML or web development, you see that this is a web development, this is an HTML code. So this is the head, the title. So this is what is going to show on the blog that we are going to create. So I'm just going to paste the Nano document here. So after that, you are going to save what you've done in the Nano. And to move out from the Nano, you do Control O, then Enter, then Control X. So use Control. Even if you are using Mac, you have to use Control. Then Enter, then Control X. So it has saved what is there. If I go to that Nano again, you see that everything that I pasted is now there. You know, the other time that I opened it, it was empty. So when I go to Nano again, you can see it's there. So I'm just going to go back again. It's Control O, Enter, and Control X. So I'm out of my Nano editor. Next thing I want to do is I want to restart the web server. So we've launched a startup script to install the web server when we added it on the startup script for the virtual machine. So to restart the web server, we use this code. And the web server we are using is Apache. So if you go back to the stage that we did this one, you'd see what we are using. We said apt-get install Apache 2 PHP MySQL. So this is the web server we are using. And now I'm just restarting the server at this stage. So start the server. So done that. So the next thing I want to do is we want to open a new web browser and paste into the address what we copied. Something like this. So this is where we would know if what we did actually works. So when I go to this, I'm going to do it on a new tab. I'm supposed to change this with the IP address of my stuff. So changing this with the IP address of my own. And let's see if we can access this. Hopefully this guy works. But if it not work, then it's still an issue with say the issue from our networking. Now we skip the other time. So this ideally is supposed to pull up supposed to show our web page. You know, we have our web server installed on our virtual machine. It's supposed to pull up the web page with the document that I specified in the sudo nano. Those welcome to excellent blog posts, blah blah blah. It's just looking like it will work. Doubt so. So looks like we are back here. It's looking like something we skipped there, but I'm not sure what we skipped. External. Be sure to use the external IP of your virtual machine. Oh, be sure to use the external IP address. Oh, I figure out where the issue is coming from. So what I'm using here, I was using the IP address of my database. Can you hear me? I was using the IP address of my database and not the IP address of my virtual machine. So yeah, to get the external IP address of my virtual machine, this is the external IP of my virtual machine. This one that is here, this 35.222. So this is what I'm supposed to use. So I'm just going to go back there. Then from this connection, I'm going to delete the connection we have here before. So I'll add a new network and paste it here. What do we call this place? Web front end. Now that we are now running behind time, web front end, then I have my /32. Click on done. Then save this guy. So hopefully it works now. See? Saving. Yeah, it's saved already. So let's go back to our progress first and see if we good. Yeah, you can see the access as soon as it's complete now. So that was the mistake. I was using the public IP for the database when I was supposed to use the one for the virtual machine. Sorry about that. Okay. Yes, so now I can just come here and paste my IP address that I was supposed to paste inside this place. Oh, not you now. Copy the IP address again, the external IP address here. Then paste it at the back. So you can see, oh, the database connection failed. Name or service not known. Okay. Yeah. I think we are good. So it's showing, you can see they also said it's going to show database connection failed. So why it's showing database connection failed is that there are some things that we templated here. So this password is using DB password. This DB server, I'm supposed to use the internal IP address of my server. So this is the username I specified, but I'm supposed to change all these values to their required values. We'll do that on the next stage. So they just want us to do it and see that it fails. So, and you all can see that it's actually failed here. So let me change the values. Let me change those values back to their expected values. So I'm just going to go back to, I'll try to be very fast now. We are running behind time. I'll try to go back to the nano. Then after that, this part is supposed to change it to the IP address of our server. What we were copying before, this is where we are supposed to use it. This guy. What is my editor? Paste it here. Then after that, I'm also going to change this to my password. I can't remember my password. Password is Bootcamp. So those are the values that I need to change. So change that. Then change this also. Then after that, I'm good to go. Then Control O, Enter, and Control X. So after we've done that now, we can now decide to restart. Let's restart our Apache web server. Then after restarting, then we can now launch. We'll go back to that browser and you see that the database connection will now succeed. So here we are. It still failed. Let's try it again. So you can see that it succeeded because we've inputted the required data. 7 minutes more. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I want to configure an application in Compute Engine instance to use the cloud storage object. So that picture that we have on cloud storage, we want to bring it to our website. We want it to show on our website. So the first thing we want to do is we'll go to the bucket and we'll copy the URL behind we'll copy the URL of the image that is on our bucket. So going back here, from here, I'll go to our cloud storage, then buckets. Trying to copy the image of this image, this one that we have here. So this public URL, this is what we're supposed to copy. And from the instruction, copy the URL behind the link icon that appears on the object page. So we've copied that. So the next thing we want to do is let me save this somewhere. Let me save this somewhere. So let's save it here. So the next thing I want to do is I'll return to my SSH. This one. So on my SSH, I'm already there before, and I've already seeded into this. So if I paste this code again, and not this, if I paste this code that is showing on the instruction, the code is just the same thing that is there. What I've done here, that's just what the code means. So since I'm already on that directory, I don't need to do that again. I'll skip this. Then the next thing I'll do is back into our nano. So when I'm back into our nano, I want to add the link to this particular link to the bucket, the link to this thing that I copied. And for those of you who have done HTML before, when you are adding images in HTML, you typically use this image SRC, right? Anybody to acknowledge that? For those of you who code HTML before, when you are linking images in HTML, that's what you typically use. So I want this image to be directly under my H1 tag. So I'm going to paste this here. Then I'm going to replace this with the link to what I copied now with the parts in my own image. So this is it here. And paste. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, we are good. Then after that, I'm also going to save it. So to save it, use your Control O, Enter. I pressed Command, Control O, Enter, Control X. So I've done that. So the next thing I'm just going to do is I'm going to restart my web server. So when I restart my web server, then I'll now go back to my website here and see the website of my database and see if the image is going to pop off. Can you all see? So we've linked the image showing on our database, or the image showing on cloud storage. Now it's now showing on the web server from our Cloud SQL. And I think that's typically all we are supposed to do for this lab. Yeah, we can see the image here. Yeah, so any question? Let's see what we've done. So an overview of what we've done. We created a cloud storage bucket. After creating a cloud storage bucket, we deployed a web server on our virtual machine. So we first created a virtual machine, which is a virtualized version of a physical computer system. And when we created that virtual machine, we now installed Apache web server on it because we want to use it for web hosting to host our website. And that's why we installed an Apache web server on it. So then after that, we create a cloud storage bucket and we add an image in the bucket. After doing that, we now created a database. So when we created a database on Cloud SQL instance, we linked the database with the cloud storage so that we can also use the image from the cloud storage in the database or in the website. And that is how we can see this image here. So that's an overview of what we did. And typically after that, I'll just end the lab. Then submit. Yeah, so you can write any comment you want to do. It's question. Yeah, so thanks everyone. So it's already very late, like really very late, and I don't want us to let's discuss. Yeah, ask a question. I don't want us to go to what's this container now, because that's quite late already and we're still going to spend a whole lot of time doing the container. But maybe we'll do that next class, or you all can just or you can just play around it. Yeah, Miriam, go ahead, feel free.
The attendance link. I think it's
Okay, I'm going to share the attendance on the chat now. Thanks for the reminder. Anybody who has any question or anyone who has any comments? So that's typically how to debug stuff. Yeah, go ahead. Just unmute yourself and talk.
so the thing we just did now, that's the excellent block. We created a website using cloud or something. I don't understand like what we did. Like, was it a website or something like that?
Yeah. It was a website. So
okay, so you can use cloud to create a website.
Yes, like it's probably what you can do. People use a lot of things. Yeah, go ahead.
And that virtual machine, is it like if different companies have one virtual machine, like if don't let me confuse you. I will deal with that confusion.
You can ask it or you can type it on the chat box. So can we say you use Cloud SQL storage? No, Cloud SQL, it's a database. Cloud storage, it's a storage service. What I did was the image was on cloud storage. There's nothing like Cloud SQL storage. The image was on cloud storage. So I now use the image in my web server that I created. In the web server I created, I used the image in cloud storage in the web server I created, and that is I just linked it to it. So I used the image I created in cloud storage in the web server database. Yes. Any other question? Any other question? Any clarification or addition that any one of us may have? Feel free. And I know that we all are like, we are also looking forward to start working on this stuff, or start working on it by ourselves. So I'm seeing what I can do. What I can also do is that just just as like a take home to, I'm saying if I can share you all some credits coming, but coming. Sugar was created expiring. Edit, share, trying to see. So can you all on the call just drop your email in the chat box, and I'll see if I can share credit to you, or maybe just 10 credits or something like that you can use. Right. So I've not shared credit before, so I don't know how it works too. But I'll take a look at how it works and to make sure I share it with you if I'm able to do that. So for those of you who input your email, I'll take a look at how I can do it. And yeah, if it's not your email that I need, I'll send a message to you asking for what I need. So I'll try to do that maybe tonight or tomorrow. Hope the email you all shared is the email that is linked to your Google Cloud platform, to the Cloud Skill Boost. So you have to share the email that is linked to your Cloud Skill Boost. That's the one you use when you were creating it, and not just any random email. Okay. Yeah, so that's all from me for now, and see you guys. Yeah, you said I have a question, but I would like to ask you on your DM because I'm not clear. Yeah, you can message me and ask a question. It's fine, and you can ask here. I think asking here is also better, so everyone can learn. But if you've not wrapped around your thoughts, you can message me. I'm happy to respond. Yeah, so that's all for today. Thanks very much, guys, for staying through, and see you in the next class. I'm going to drop the assignment. On the group chat. So we were supposed to have done. We're supposed to have done cloud. We're supposed to have done containers before, and for now we have 2 days in between. So maybe I'll just add 2 more modules that we should read ahead of our class on Monday. So we have the whole weekend with left to us. So I'm going to share the assignment to the group chat for every one of us. So thanks very much for joining in. It's really nice to see you all. And bye for now. Catch up later. Bye, guys.